You use Google pretty much every single day, right? But here's the thing. The company you think you know is actually just one small part of this massive, sprawling empire called Alphabet. So let's get into it and figure out what's really going on behind the world's most famous search bar. I mean, we're talking about an absolute titan of tech. Its market cap is closing in on $2 trillion. Its services are so woven into the fabric of our lives, they're like invisible infrastructure. From the phone that's probably in your pocket right now to the maps that tell you where to go.
So that gets us to the big question. If it's not just Google, then what is Alphabet? How does this gigantic entity actually make its money? And maybe more importantly, where is it betting its chips for the future?
Well, this chart here pretty much lays it all out. As you can see, the huge majority, we're talking something like 2/3 of all their money, comes straight from advertising. That's Google search and YouTube ads. But that is definitely not the whole story. Just look at Google Cloud and their subscriptions and devices segment. Each one of those is a monster business on its own, pulling in over 10% of the total. This really shows you that Alphabet is so much more than a search company. It's a deeply diversified tech giant.
Okay, so let's start right at the core, the absolute bedrock of Alphabet's wealth, that incredible advertising machine. Just let this number sink in for a second. More than 9 out of every 10 searches on the entire internet happen on Google. I mean, that is a level of market dominance that you almost never see in any industry. This one single staggering fact is the engine that powers the whole Alphabet empire.
But that engine, it's got two massive cylinders. It's not just about search. On the other side, you've got YouTube, the second biggest social media platform on the entire planet, with 2.7 billion active users. Put them together and you have an advertising powerhouse that is just incredibly difficult for anyone to compete with.
So how do they protect all this? Well, they've built what people in the business call a data moat. Think of it like this. Every time you search for, say, best running shoes, then you go watch a review video on YouTube, and then you use Google Maps to find the local shoe store. You're handing them another piece of your puzzle. This huge interconnected web of data means they don't just know what you're interested in right now. They can pretty accurately predict what you'll want to buy next. That makes their ads incredibly valuable and builds a wall that's almost impossible for any competitor to climb over.
But hey, Alphabet is not a company that's just content living in the present. They are funneling billions and billions of those ad dollars into building the next phase of their empire. So let's take a look at where they're placing their biggest bets for what's coming next.
And these are the three big ones. While ads are definitely paying the bills today, Alphabet is looking at its future, and it sees dominance in the world of cloud computing, the raw brainpower of AI, and the totally paradigm-shifting potential of quantum computing.
Now, just look at the growth rate here. Yeah, Google Cloud is currently number 3 in the market, trying to catch up to Amazon and Microsoft, but it's Alphabet's fastest-growing major business by far, jumping up by over 30% in 2024. They are pouring money and resources into this fight, desperately trying to carve out a bigger piece of that multi-trillion-dollar cloud market. And right at the heart of that whole race is artificial intelligence. For Alphabet, AI isn't just another product line. It's like the new nervous system for the entire company. Their Gemini models are being woven into absolutely everything, from making search feel more like a conversation, to making their cloud services way more powerful, and even creating brand new tools for all of us. And then there's the truly mind-bending bet, quantum computing. This quote, "A shift to economical quantum advantage," is basically about reaching a tipping point. It's the moment where these futuristic machines stop being cool lab experiments and become actual practical tools. We're talking about computers so powerful they could solve problems that would take today's best supercomputers literally thousands of years to figure out. And look, this isn't just science fiction. Alphabet's experimental chip, called Willow, has already shown this incredible potential. It solved a complex problem 13,000 times faster than a traditional supercomputer. That's the kind of insane leap forward that could completely redefine entire industries, from medicine all the way to finance.
But of course, being a giant means you have giant rivals and you face giant problems. Alphabet is fighting some really intense battles on a whole bunch of different fronts right now.
First up, there's the constant war for our eyeballs, and of course, the ad dollars that come with them. Meta is an absolute titan here. With Facebook and Instagram, they command a huge chunk of the social media world, making them a direct and ferocious competitor for the very same advertising budgets. Next, in the fight for the future of business, you've got this head-to-head clash with Microsoft, and this is a high-stakes war fought on two major fronts.
One is winning over big corporate clients for their cloud services, and the other is the critical race to build the most dominant AI that will power the next decade of tech.
And finally, there's Amazon. You could honestly call them the everything rival. They're not just competing in one little area. They clash with Alphabet in the cloud with AWS. They're becoming a real force in online advertising, and they even go toe-to-toe in our living rooms with streaming devices and smart home gear.
But you know, the biggest threat to Alphabet might not be another company at all. It might actually be governments. Alphabet is facing some serious antitrust lawsuits in both the US and Europe. The basic argument is that its market dominance is unfair to competitors, and these lawsuits could lead to huge fines or, in a worst-case scenario for them, being forced to actually sell off parts of their business.
So, with all this incredible dominance, all this crazy innovation, and all of these massive threats, how in the world do you even begin to put a price tag on a company like Alphabet?
Well, there are two main ways analysts try to figure it out. The first way is to try and predict all the cash the company will ever make for years and years into the future, and then work backwards to figure out what all that future money is worth today. The other way is a lot simpler. You just compare it to similar companies. Think of it like valuing a house. You can either calculate all the potential rental income for the next 30 years, or you can just see what similar houses down the street are selling for. And honestly, neither method is perfect.
And this is exactly why trying to value a company is so much more of an art than a science. A tiny little tweak in an assumption about how much it might grow next year, or just a slight change in how confident investors are feeling, can change the company's estimated value by tens of billions of dollars. A company's worth isn't some fixed number. It's a constantly moving target, changing all the time based on our collective best guess about what the future holds.
Which really leaves us with the ultimate question. Alphabet built its entire empire on organizing the world's information. But now, as AI starts to not just organize but actually create information, is that foundation going to be a launchpad for an even bigger, more powerful empire? Or could it be the very thing that causes the whole structure to start to crumble? That, right there, is the multi-trillion-dollar question.